What's up, everyone? How's it going? Hope all is well with you guys. Adan here. Quick video, first video of my YouTube channel. And, I'll try and make this one quick and to the point, just to kind of introduce myself, who I am, what I'm going to be talking about in this YouTube channel. First and foremost, again, my name is Adan. And I am a ex-professional athlete, football, specifically soccer. And what I will be talking about in this YouTube channel is mainly based off experience in the performance sector of, not only an athlete, but a human being, right? So basically and as you can see here, like most of my videos, if not every single video, is going to be unscripted. So I'm just going to be talking off the top of my dome. So if I do have these like small pauses and, kind of just to gather my thoughts, then, I apologize in advance. It'll be like this in the beginning because this is technically my first video ever that I've actually talked in front of the camera. And, today I decided that I wanted to talk and create a YouTube channel so that I can hopefully help a few individuals out there, just make some sort of impact and try and help those that are looking to optimize their game. And I'll be talking about mainly football, soccer, but a lot of these things that I'll be talking about can also be applied in other sports and even into day-to-day life activities. So, but mainly football. And the mind, like the psychological side of things, will be able, you'll be able to implement these things on a day-to-day, life experiences and things that you do throughout the day. But what I wanted to talk about is, what I'll be talking about mainly is like things that you do outside of the field, specifically soccer, that are potentially affecting your game, and things that you can do so that you can, perform at the best of your ability and actually be able to tap into that high performance flow state that you have within already. A lot of us feel like, and don't get me wrong, like putting in the work is mandatory. Like you need to put in the work, but once you get to a certain point where you've put in so much hours, you put in those 10,000 hours, yeah, it's essential that you continue to, just kind of refine those skills and continue to, work on it, but not as intense as the beginning, right? Now you kind of, and I don't think there's always room for improvement, for sure. But what I'm trying to get to is that sometimes we overextend ourselves, sometimes we overtrain ourselves, sometimes we overconsume information that, we get into our own head and we end up not tapping into our high performance, into our higher self that kind of just does things instantly without even thinking about it, because you already have it within you. It's just a matter of tapping into that specific state of flow of instincts that help you perform to the best of your ability. And it's easier said than done. I understand that because I went through all that, and I still go through things like that on a day-to-day basis. But I'll be talking about what I did personally to get to the next level. I played overseas for about 7 years. I was able to reach my football goals, soccer goals, we call it here in the US. And I was able to play at a pretty high level in Europe. And that was always my dream of pursuing that, like my main dream, like growing up, was like, hey, I want to be playing in Europe. It doesn't matter which league, but I wanted to be the first tier of that specific country, you know, like the Premier League of that specific country. So I didn't choose any country like specifically, but long story short, I ended up accomplishing it, and I was able to accomplish this through more of my mindset, to be honest, because I grew up with a lot of players that were probably better than me. And don't get me wrong, like I was pretty good. You know, I was above average. So, you know, you can't just go to Europe and even play in specific countries. Like I played in Germany. Like there's these, you know, even fourth league can compare to almost like an MLS team. Some MLS teams here, if we're completely honest, right? Like that quality of football out there is even at the fourth tier was where I played in Germany, which is technically not professional, but on paper it wasn't professional, but you're still competing in environments that are like professional, like the structure. You're competing with players that are professionals, but most, like, for example, in the fourth tier in Germany, there's a lot of these clubs that are the reserves for Bundesliga teams, which is a first tier. So for example, like Dortmund plays in the Bundesliga, which is the first tier of Germany, but the reserve team plays in the fourth league. And a lot of these players that are playing in this fourth league reserve team like also get called up to play and train with the first team. So it's kind of back and forth. Some of the first team players sometimes might come down and play in the reserve team. Maybe they're injured and they're just kind of getting back into it. Like there's a lot of situations, you know. So it's a professional environment, professional level. And so I wasn't, if we were going to be here completely transparent, obviously, like on paper I wasn't professional, but I was competing in a professional environment, if that makes any sense. But that was just one country that I played in. I played in Azerbaijan, which was the Azerbaijani Premier League, which that was on paper obviously is the Premier League. I was a professional, right? I signed a professional contract and I was competing in a professional level where maybe a lot of people, it's not a recognized league. Maybe up until Cristiano Ronaldo went to Saudi Arabia, right? Like he got a lot of shit because like, oh, he's going to this like random league in Saudi Arabia and it's not even high level. But a lot of people don't know because they haven't actually been there. And I actually been on that side of the world. I was there before Cristiano Ronaldo, like on that side of the world, playing in Azerbaijan. And if you know anything about football, which is, I'm sure you do, because this is exactly who I'm talking to, footballers in this point in time. But this can, whatever I'm going to be talking about in this YouTube channel is going to apply and relate to like all types of sports. But in Azerbaijan, if you see, like there's a few clubs that were actually in this Champions League group stage, not the qualifications where, you know, you still have to qualify to play in the group stage against the Chelseas, the Atletico Madrids, the Real Madrids, Barcelonas. So the club in Azerbaijan actually qualified all the way to the group stage. So they were in the group stage competing against Atletico Madrid, Chelsea, all these big clubs, right? They were in the group stage. So I was playing against these clubs on a weekly basis or every few weeks against this club, right? And these other clubs that were, you know, competing in the Champions League. So I like to use that example because it kind of gives you an idea of the level of football that was being played in that country, because you, like, a lot of people don't know about it, right? And it just, so that way you kind of get an idea, right, of the level of football that was being played in that country, because it's not a well-known league. And I'm not saying that, you know, I was tearing the league up or anything like that, right? Like, I'll be completely honest, like my team was mid-table. So we didn't have we didn't have, or the club didn't have the budget to buy these higher quality team or players, right? To bring in to like build a good team is what I'm saying. So obviously, like player by player, like these other teams, some of these other teams were better than us, right? Player by player, and that's, it's just how it is, right? Like I was not the best player in that league, but when you play around these other players that are above you, it just makes you level up, basically, right? Like you have to level up, or else you're just gonna, they're gonna run all over you. And yeah, we had these games where we lost, and we actually beat these teams too, you know. So in a professional environment, sometimes a lot of things come into play, like fans, like the environment you're playing in, like the different stadiums. And even if you're a mid-table team, or maybe the last place team, like you can still beat these teams that have invested a lot in their players to, you know, qualify for these, because their main goal at the end of the day is to qualify for Champions League. Like I'm talking about, it's Karabakh, Kabbalah, Neftchi. Like these are clubs that play in Europa League and Champions League. My team necessarily was adan.perform, which it doesn't exist now, based off financial situations again. And that happens a lot in clubs in all over the world, right? Financial situations, they drop because of specific factors. And that happened to me a few times in Germany as well. Like there was clubs that financially they went bankrupt, so they have to drop leagues because they can't afford specific things I won't get too much into. Whatever, long story short, that's where I played. That was the level that I played. That's the level that I dreamed of playing in. And I used specific approaches at that point that helped me get to that level. Again, there was individuals, like even I have a best friend that he was pretty good, you know, in his position, and I know he would have been able to play at the highest level. I grew up with individuals that were better than me, strikers, midfielders. And again, not everyone was looking to reach that professional level. You know, some other people had other plans, and life happens, and you know, not everyone's the same. But, and I'm not saying that whatever I'm going to be talking about here, if you implement it, it doesn't necessarily guarantee that you're going to make it. Sorry to just break it down like that. It's like I want to be completely transparent, but at least like if you want to play at a high level, like college or semi-pro, or even here in the USL in the US, this can, like, my approaches can definitely help you, I believe. I could have easily gone on to become a personal trainer, and I'll be talking about like because I went through, you know, from being a professional athlete to now, like I would say the transition is a different thing. So you got to be ready as well. Like after football, I can talk about that experience. Like you got to be ready and have in the back of your mind that once you stop playing football, there's something else that you're gonna have to do. And for a footballer, I mean, you can go into coaching, right? If that's your thing, like coaching is gonna be the most obvious thing that you can do after playing football, right? After like your career's done, that's gonna be. And I'm in my car right now, so I'm kind of just like talking, and people are, you know, kind of looking at me, but it doesn't matter. I'm getting used to this, right? This is my first video here, and where was I at? There is gonna be. Where was I at? Shit, I forgot. Oh yeah, it's not gonna guarantee that you're gonna, or yeah, I was talking about like after soccer, after football, like you have to have one, like you're gonna have to have a plan, right? Like you can go into playing coaching and personal training, and I decided that I didn't want to do that. So my transition has been a lot harder than what maybe some other footballer, you know, that just wanted to coach. You know, and he had a good idea of what it was that he wanted to do, right? I didn't want to do that. I gave soccer most of my life, so now I want to be able to use those skills that I learned in soccer, football, and apply them to other parts of my life to see if I can duplicate those results, but in other areas of life, right? So other, like business or entrepreneurship, which is what I'm into. There's something else that I'm actually doing right now that's high level, high performance. It's one of the hardest things that you can actually try and do as well. So I'll be talking about that later. And that's essentially what I'm going to be doing my whole life now. It took me a while to find this, to find something that really gave me the energy and the adrenaline that I was looking for in something, just like football did. You know, the adrenaline, the excitement, right? The uncertainty kind of gave me, in football is like concern, like if you don't perform, sometimes you're like, shit, are they gonna cut me at the end of the season, right? That's how it was at the professional level. It's not like when I was growing up, you know, you pay to play, and you have a bad game or even a whole season and you just pay it next year and you're back on the team. That wasn't the case at the professional level. Obviously, they'll let you go. They'll let you go even the halfway through the season. They'll let you go. So I missed that type of adrenaline environment and just being able to push myself because I knew that I had to perform. And now for me, it's like I want to do that in somewhere else, right? Some other business, in something else, basically. Sorry, my thoughts are just, I'm trying to get my words together, and I promise I'll get better, but it doesn't matter, you know. At least, you know, I'm being authentic, and this is my first video straight up, you know, no script. But I'll be talking about that later too. Like, it might interest some of you that are watching, if you're aspiring professional footballer or a college student or high school student, I don't know, maybe even a parent, right? I don't know. But this is a high level skill that I'm learning still. I haven't, just like football, right? Like, you got to craft that skill, you got to work on it, you got to put those 10,000 hours. That's what I thought, like continuously. But then there comes a time where you've already created that skill, and maybe, yeah, you can I don't think you can perfect it, but it's just better to kind of get out of your own way sometimes and not burn yourself out. That's what I'm trying to get to. Nervous system regulation, I'll be talking about a lot, you know, because when you're regulated, when you're good with yourself, when you have good energy, preserving energy, you're able to perform, basically. Perform. You're not tired, you're mentally sharp. And I seen in the football world, like even with youth training, personal training, like personal training is good, don't get me wrong, but there comes a time where you only need so much. That's what I'm trying to say. You don't need too much of I never had personal training. I'm not gonna throw shade on any of these personal trainers because a lot of them know what they're doing and they're good trainers, don't get me wrong. But me personally, it was all based off instinct and putting myself in actual game-like environments, playing futsal, playing Sunday league. It wasn't the highest level, but it's a it's like it's a game, right? So when you're doing these personal trainings, again, they're good, but you got to work on the instinct as well, the instinct side of your self, your inner self, your higher self, right? Reactions, you know, just kind of letting things happen naturally in a game. The passing, the shooting, that's good. You know, I did that too. I did it by myself. I would go shoot a lot. I would hit the wall, passing, this and that. I worked on all that too. But there comes a time where, like, you've already built so much of that skill and endurance and mental muscle memory that now it's just a matter of regulating yourself, preserving energy, having enough energy so that you can perform and get out of your own way. and be mentally clear and not kind of self-sabotage yourself psychologically during games, which is, it's everything. Psychological side of the game, it's everything. So if you can get out of your own way when it matters, which is game time, you're gonna be fine. Because most of the time is like, you've had the, I know you, even myself, like I can, even during training actually, and with I'll talk about how training is as well, like what you need to, if you heard this, like you got to train how you play, it doesn't matter. And I seen that happen here in the US, coming back from Europe and then coming back to play here in the US. I realized that personally, like, and there was a few teams, but there were some teams that, and I understand it's different times, but we were just too careful with each other during trainings. And I understand, like, we don't want to hurt each other either, but you definitely want to compete at the level that a game would be played at. But yeah, I'll be talking about specific things like that, energy preservation, like structure routines, not so not so like rigid, like to the point where you're stressing yourself out and be like, oh, well, I didn't do this today, like fuck, you know, like now like you feel bad and guilty and you're getting in your own head. Talking about that, sleeping, obviously, like, it's one of the most important things, if not the most important part of performance, not even athletes, but like day-to-day life. And I haven't been following this specifically my whole life. That's what I'll be talking about as well. Now, just recently, I realized that I want to start talking about it. Since I'm not coaching, at least I can talk about it. And because it also relates to what the other thing that I'm doing as well, which is performance-based, psychological, very psychological. I mean, everything is psychological, but this is like, I gotta be mentally sharp and focused and strong to actually be able to make a living from this specific thing. And so I think for me to talk about this with an audience, it's gonna help me and it's gonna help you guys, versus me trying to do this on my own. Because what I'm doing is, it's a one-man thing. So it's not a sport, but it really just comes down to me, and it's a lonely career, to be honest. So for me to create this YouTube video, I think I'll be able to connect with others and sort of see how I can help aspiring footballers potentially reach some of their goals. And I'm not saying, like, I'm not a neuroscientist or I'm not like a certified professional. None of that. Like, I'm just going to be speaking straight off experience, right? And some of you might agree, disagree. It doesn't really matter, because I accomplished my goal of, and I say this humbling, very humbling, whatever the word is, fuck. I accomplished my goals through specific ways of approaching things. I'm going to be talking a lot about like instinct too, and sometimes not caring too much about detachment. Detachment. I'll be talking about detachment, like not over obsessing over one thing, because you kind of get on your own way. You create tension, you create friction, stress. It's what we don't want. We want to be happy. We're not always going to be happy, but we want to be good with ourselves, stable mentally. So 24 minutes, god damn, I'm talking for 24 minutes. But yeah, I'll leave it at that. Hopefully some of you, I can help in any way, right, with these things that I talk about, these methods, approaches. And we'll take it from there. I'll be uploading like some videos that might take you through like a foundational, like, say for example, core exercise, or for football players, for athletes, or endurance, or stretching, stability, very important. injury prevention, all these things. And I'm not a certified trainer or neuroscientist or whatever. I'm not certified. These are just based off my own experience, and everyone's different, I know, but at least hopefully you can take a little bit of the things that I put out, and then you can implement it into your routine or whatever you have going on, and it could help you. Because at the end of the day, and this is how I'm going to close it, this is how the video's going to end if you're still watching. At the end of the day, and I'm sure you heard these things, the thing that sometimes just moves the needle, that makes the biggest difference, is the smallest little thing. That's it. It's not going to be a big thing. It's always going to be this little thing. One little thing that you change, technique or whatever, mental approach. That's it. Just one little thing. I'll leave it at that. Thank you for watching. Until the next one. Sorry for about the quality of the video, but if you're interested in this, just subscribe, leave a comment down below, and like just kind of tell me where you're from maybe, and what type of videos you would like to see. I started a new YouTube, Instagram as well. If you can give me a follow down there as well, I'll put it in the description. And I have a picture there of like my professional days, but you can look me up. I'll upload more pictures so you can see that I'm actually just not talking out of, or like lying, you know, like not being transparent with like me playing professional. But yeah, that was me, and we'll be in contact. Take care, guys.